Akshaya. How are you?
I'm good, Linda. How are you?
I am great. So, hey, everybody, it's Linda Lippin here from Linda Lippin Pilates, the Pilates Teacher Mastermind, Pilates Profit Lab, and Strong Women. And today we're going to talk about stepping into discomfort. Stepping into the discomfort of change, of growth, of working on your vision, and of moving forward in your business and in your life in a way that works. Now, Akshaya and I met through my favorite networking group, the Advanced Women's Network. She is a life coach, mom, rebel, soul seeker, and a compassionate fucking human, which is my favorite thing.
Yeah, proud.
She helps busy female professionals, entrepreneurs, and moms create their grandest vision and live in alignment with their why. She holds you whole as you take your next best steps towards living an authentic and abundant life. She's a certified life coach in the Mind Rebel method and a certified yoga therapist. She uses mindset work, meditation, and breath work to help support her clients to do deep inner work. Her clients feel empowered as they put themselves on top of their to-do list. And let me tell you something, most of my clients have a really hard time I have a hard time putting myself on the top of my to-do list. So, we all need this work. And in her free time, she likes to cook, read, watch a good show, move around, be out in nature, and is lucky enough to be living in Austin, Texas with her loving husband, children, and lots of family and friends to help keep her lifted and keep her connected. And I am so thrilled to bring you to my audience today, because we as Pilates professionals have been stepping into discomfort for the last year and a half. Yeah. And so many of us are tired, just tired, and not sure really when we should be leaning into the discomfort, whether we should be leaning into it all the time. Right. Whether sometimes discomfort might be a sign that things are wrong.
Right.
And when discomfort is just a natural part of our growth and moving forward process. Yeah. So I introduced you, Akshaya, but tell us a little more about yourself and your approach, and then we'll start talking.
Yeah, let's do it. So I am a life coach, and I primarily work with women who find themselves in this not so unique position, because I'm seeing more and more women in this situation, right? We've reached a certain stage in our lives. We've done all of the things, checked off all the boxes, and still there is this desire or this need to shift, change, or to keep up with maybe whatever life is offering you in that at this particular time, right? Like this last year with the shutdown was like a global offering to stop and take a look at what's working, what's not working. Can you pivot? What do you need to do so that the rest of the years that follow can play out with less resistance?
Right. Now, resistance is interesting, right? Mm-hmm. Because I remember at the beginning of COVID, like before things got, to the stage that they are, people didn't think that this was going to last very long, and they didn't think they had to change. Right. And I'm still hearing from Pilates teachers now who are just shifting online. Mm-hmm. Just getting there after a year and a half of this concern and this worry. So how do we know when we need to change or when a change needs to come?
Right. So usually life will present an opportunity to change, whether you see it as an opportunity or not. You might see it as a huge interruption, um, at the most inconvenient of times, right? If I were to look back on my own journey right before the shutdown here in Austin, which was last March, I had signed a contract to um, rent out my own space to begin a yoga therapy business 1 week before shutdown, right?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I knew definitely I wasn't going to go in. Things were extremely uncertain. I was not going to see people one on one. So, what do I do? Life also presented another situation for me in the challenge of virtual schooling my children. And I, I was feeling the resistance in launching my business. And to me, it wasn't just that things felt difficult, it was just that I was not clear in my own vision.
Well,
And
sure,
then,
because your vision was the physical space where you were going to
right,
build it out and decorate it and pick your colors and have your clients come in and have this wonderful, warm experience in your space.
exactly. Yeah. So my vision started to become blurry and unclear to me. And it was very interesting at the same. So then I decided to hit pause on my business. Virtual schooling called me. I was full time sitting with my children for 7 hours a day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until this year, March, exactly 1 year later, after I went through my own coaching journey, I realized that that vision of being a yoga therapist or serving as a yoga therapist was not for me. It was just the what my mind thought was the logical next best step because I was a certified yoga therapist.
Right. Like you're a Pilates teacher, you open a Pilates studio.
Exactly.
Yeah, you
The
know.
logical next best step,
Yeah.
right? But what if your next best step wasn't logical, made no sense to anybody on the outside, to all like the experts telling you that this is the logical next best step? What if deep inside you were being called to do something else? And then you're in this position, you're on this fence, you're like, which side do I go? I say, I finished this yoga therapy certification. I should naturally be a yoga therapist.
Right.
Or for your Pilates instructors, I finished my Pilates instruction training. I can teach. I want to teach, and I should open a studio. But if deep down inside, and it will present itself in the form of doubts or the form of something else pulling your attention. And for me, it was coaching. Initially, it was my own coaching, it was a call
Mm.
to heal. And then it became very clear. It became so clear that my heart just, I was excited. The possibilities opened up for me. And then I realized that this whole, not that COVID happened for me, right? It was just
Right.
an opportunity. This whole signing the lease, having to break the lease, and having to disconnect from my self created identity as a yoga therapist.
Mm-hmm.
Once I let go, I'm like, okay, I'm not attaching to anything. What is the next best step for me? It was coaching women who found themselves in a very similar situation.
Right.
So
And
not
I had
logical,
this
but
similar Yeah. I had a very similar kind of experience because originally, I was very client focused, consumer focused, within the Pilates studio. And I did some, side work of continuing education and, workshops and
Mhm.
seminars and all of that kind of stuff. And just support. And I had a bunch of Pilates teachers just as private clients online who just wanted someone with a good eye who knew everything that they did to, take them through through their workouts. I do the same thing. I farm that stuff out. I don't like doing it for myself. I let other people handle that. And I just show up.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden it was like I realized that Pilates teachers were really struggling. And then I started doing more coaching on that kind of business and mindset side. And
Yeah.
then went and learned more about that and learned more about the business side and how that all works so that and it's interesting because I've had a coaching certification
Yeah.
for like 7 years.
Hmm.
I mean I am a certified life coach. It's not like
Yeah.
I don't have a piece of paper because I do, but I never really used it.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, people need this. This is what's
Mhm.
needed now.
Yeah.
Right. So, and again, made me really profoundly uncomfortable.
Hmm.
but kind of went for that. Now, when you made that shift, how long did it take you to really start doing that and doing that coaching online and building that community?
Right. So there's a couple of steps to this, right? Like the first was being open to the possibility that maybe something's calling me. And then once you get that call, say, oh, maybe I could coach. Like this is me personally, right? It's what do I have to let go of to fully step into this next version of myself? What do I have to let go of? What identity? What thoughts? What attachments do I have in my life right now? Like the attachment to the fact that I spent almost 5 years training to be a yoga therapist
Mm-hmm.
and countless hours. That was a huge, I'm like, I used to tell people that training was like doing a degree, right?
Oh yeah.
I worked so hard, and then now just to release that identity, it took time. Luckily, I was in a supported environment. I was being coached. I had a community who held space for me as I did that work. Once I started releasing my own attachment to that identity, it was like as if a weight had fallen off. Like my attachment was causing me so much discomfort, but where was that attachment coming from?
Right.
Right? So, what I like to tell my clients is think of, say, you have a decision in front of you, and in your mind, you're confused. You're like, I don't know which way to go. Now, there's a way where we can be in fear and allow the fear to take over and guide our decision or influence our decision. Or there's a way where we can come from a place of love and compassion, fully aligned with, that voice inside that just knows. We all hear that voice inside. It's how much are we willing to believe it? How much are we willing to go against the grain to
Mm-hmm.
listen to it? So when you're put up in this place where you have to decide between a fear-based decision versus a love-based decision, that's when you know the difference. Like if you think about something you have in front of you right now, if you ask yourself, am I fearing something and making this choice from that place? Or am I okay with stepping into some discomfort, choosing myself, showing myself so much compassion as I make this decision? And another way to identify that decision that is aligned for you is it should excite you and scare you a little bit.
So the fear is kind of good. A little discomfort, right?
Right. So there's like a big fear, and
right.
then there's like a baby fear. What you do is you work on calming the side of you that really lives in fear. We call that the mind rebel. Saying, hey, I see you. I see that you're scared, but I've got you. So sit in the back seat and come along for the ride.
Right. And, let me know if I really am about to run a red light, because that would be really good to know. Right? The backseat driver can come in handy.
Exactly.
On rare occasions.
So it definitely, our mind rebel definitely serves a purpose. But you don't want the mind rebel or the fear-based person in you to drive the bus.
No, because then your bus won't move. Or your bus will just take the same route every single day with the same people every single day. And that, I think, is what ends up happening. I think that's really what happened with the world situation, right? Was we all just kind of did the thing. Was I that thrilled? Did I love getting up to teach clients at 7 a.m. in a Pilates studio? Akshaya, I don't start till 10 now. 10 is my earliest appointment ever. No, I didn't, but it's what I knew. It's what worked. The client showed up. I showed up. I got money. We were, it all kind of worked out. And to change that and to shift that, was so scary. So scary. And my brain went through everything. Like, well, what if? Like, what if it all falls apart and you just lose everything and it's just all gone and your clients hate you and nobody wants to deal with you anymore ever?
So and then I can pause you there for a quick moment, right? That what if it all falls apart?
Yes.
It's only one possibility.
Exactly.
But what are all of the other possibilities?
Right.
Right?
Right. And
you get to
frankly,
choose.
Yeah. And you want to know something? A couple of things did fall apart. And it was really okay, because it turns out that those were paths that I was taking in my online business that were not the paths for me, that were not paths that I wanted to take. It turned out that I wasn't comfortable taking them. One of them was doing like an inexpensive kind of online monthly membership studio. All of a sudden, there I was doing kind of low ticket, trying to do low ticket, high volume, which is not my thing. Right? I do low volume, high ticket, so I can not work like crazy hours myself, but really give my clients the attention that they deserve and are helped by. And so those paths, some of them were offered to me, some of them I took. And I was lucky enough that I have a big enough network that I was able to pass those on to teachers who wanted them and are running them successfully.
Exactly.
It doesn't mean we need to be successful at everything. It doesn't mean that we need to be able to do everything well, right? I don't do that high volume, like low ticket online studio thing well. That's not my jam. It's not what my clients want. It's not what I want to do. I resisted it the whole time. And then it didn't do well.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Exactly.
But once I let it go,
from the universe, right?
Exactly. But that's a sign from the universe, not just being uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because a lot of my clients will say to me sometimes, actually, they'll say, well, clearly I'm resisting doing it and I'm really uncomfortable, so that must be the sign from the universe that it's not meant for me. Right. And I'm like, no.
No,
That's not really
discomfort.
that.
Yeah, there are different forms of discomfort, right?
So let's talk
It's
about that.
the
Yeah.
yeah, it's the are you I just want to take a step back real quick. It's are you trying to squeeze yourself into somebody else's mold? There's discomfort that comes with that, and usually that's when things won't work out for you. When you're trying to step onto somebody else's path. Not that you're taking something away from someone. It's almost like, oh, she's doing that. She's successful. I'll do that too.
Right.
Right. Versus listening to your heart. Where are your strengths? Where is your excitement coming from? What lights you up? Like what feels easy to you? Right? When you're thinking about even within the Pilates world, like there are so many different routes you can go. You
Yes.
have created your own mold. And why is it comfortable now? It's not comfortable to step out of
No.
your norm into this because you've created something completely new for yourself, right? So that but you knew once you got there that it would fit so well.
Right. Right. And
Right?
then
But that path,
suddenly it's like, oh, this was it.
right. So the path can, I truly believe to know the difference in the discomfort, you need to do a little bit of deep introspection work. You need to get to know yourself really, really well and be unafraid to see what's inside, right? Because what happens is, even if you take the path that you know you're supposed to be on, sometimes you might veer off into the bushes, as my mentor likes to say, you veer off into the bushes, but you know when you're in the bushes and you can bring yourself back out onto your path again.
Right. Right. And you know what's very interesting is that my friend Amy on Instagram just did a comment that, our clients always say the 100, and if you've
Yeah.
done Pilates, you know what the 100 is.
Yes, I know.
That
Oh,
the,
yeah.
that we have clients who are like, we don't like the 100, so we don't want to do it. Right.
Yeah.
And we're always kind of like, but this is what it's for, right? It's for breathing, it's
Right.
for endurance, it's for holding a position and feeling what your
Right.
body's doing. Like, there's a reason why we do it. It's a reason why it comes at a
Right.
certain place in the system.
Right.
And
And
but
are
again,
they
it's like
also
they're like,
still pose?
huh?
Isn't it a still position where you're breathing but your body is still, just your
You're
arms
basically,
moving?
your body is still, your arms are
Yeah.
moving and you're breathing, but
Yeah.
you're up in forward thoracic flexion,
Yeah.
so you need some abdominal strength, and if you don't have it, your neck might hurt a little,
Yeah.
right? Your abdominals hurt. It's not easy to breathe when you're curled up in this position and you're holding onto your
Right.
legs. There's a lot going on there. It's not very
Right.
comfortable. And, it's like the first exercise in the first session. We're like, hi, welcome to the studio.
Exactly.
Do this. And people were like, yeah, what's that?
Right. You know
But
what
they
this
get
is
stronger.
reminding me of? What this is reminding me of, the 100, right? If we just took the 100 as an analogy, because I see this in
Mhm.
yoga, I see this in meditation, I see this in coaching, in life, right?
Yes.
How comfortable is it to stay still
Right.
and just focus on breathing? I would argue it is harder than maybe doing a handstand, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because your mind has to focus on yourself.
Right.
That's the hardest thing to do, because in a lot of movements we focus on the movement, we focus on the sweating, we are pulled externally, but the moment we're asked to be still, that's when you're like, I don't want to do this. even if they are actually physically capable of doing it, it's like,
Right.
I don't want to do this.
Right. This is not comfortable. I do not want to do this. And then ultimately, and it gets even better, because then I look at them and I'm like, unfortunately, this is really one of those exercises that's never comfortable.
Yeah.
It's never comfortable. I mean, we have some exercises that, in their names, you can tell they're never comfortable, like teaser.
Mm-hmm.
Like it sounds, and realistically, it's a V sit up or a larger boat pose, or, and it shows up in many different disciplines and many different systems.
Mm-hmm.
But, we always joke in the studio that we called it the teaser because it teases you. Mm-hmm. Because some days you can do it, and other days you're like, I don't know what happened,
right.
but this is not happening.
Right.
And I think, that same grace that like we as Pilates people or yoga people or whatever give to our clients is the same grace we need to give to ourselves when it comes to doing these new things and doing them in new ways. People even ask me that. They're just like, so you just suddenly decided to do these live streams? And I'm like, yep. Mm-hmm. Well, was it scary? Of course it was.
Yeah.
Like my name's on it, we're live, and whether people watch it live or not, they watch it sooner or later. The videos always get views, right? There's always comments and interaction, and it's terrifying, frankly, but it gets easier, right? It gets to be a part of what we all do, and a part of how we all get to connect with each other and educate each other in this online space. So, you overcome it and you do it. It's not like teaching Pilates the first time was easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it sounds like in your case, Linda, that you starting this live stream and doing this thing that was very unfamiliar and uncomfortable for you, that there was something you were rooted in that kept you going, like your why. Why?
Right.
Why did you keep going? Why are you even doing this? But for you, you knew it was so clear.
Yeah. Yes. And it also has to be clear how the pieces of what you're doing fit together. And I've also found, and you'll probably have more to say about this, I am sure, that the more you start to do that in one area of your life or your business, the more that starts to happen in other areas. So, a quick story is that, I grew up extremely working class. My parents feared financial planning. So I grew up with a healthy fear of financial planning. Which, when I say it now, it's like, and so many people do fear money and financial planning. So I know that's a thing. But when I say it with like my brain the way it is now, I'm like, why would you fear financial planning? Not like financial stealing your money, like financial planning. It makes perfect sense. But now that I've become more kind of organized and open to these things and how they fit together, as a whole part of my like 10 to 15 year retirement plan. Now it's like I met with my accountant Wanda earlier this afternoon, and we were she was like, you really don't have any financial planning. And she knows my history. She knows kind of my fear place that I come from with that. And she said, so what we're going to do is we're going to walk through some different scenarios over the next couple of quarters of, how much you would need to put away and where, and interest rates, and how much you would need to save in different places in order to be able to comfortably retire in 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And she's like, and suddenly I'm not afraid of that, because I'm like, it's just planning. They're just numbers. They're just facts. Like, you want to save this, you got to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that now, because now I see how that fits into a life plan.
Right.
And it actually comforts me now, even though I'm still a little kind of scared and wary.
Mm-hmm.
But it's somewhat comforting, I find, now that I
Right?
found that in one area of my life. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that works in every other area.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
So there's this, I often tell my clients when they come to me, I'm like, bring me three of your main goals. I usually work 6 months, sometimes with a 1 year with a client, right? Because it's a process, it takes time. It's not a quick fix. So bring me your top three goals. And what I start seeing is we don't work on everything at the same time, but we start addressing one small area of one of the goals. And then it starts when they start seeing change and when they start adopting a different mindset, it trickles into all the other goals that they brought forth, right? Then we can slowly go into more detail as well, but the mind has already gained new ways of thinking, of being, which is so supportive in all areas of your life. If you go to a relationship coach to work on your relationship, chances are more than your relationship will improve. The same, if you go to a
Right.
financial coach to work on your money mindset, chances are other areas of your life will improve. And you might even be like, okay, now I've worked with the financial coach, now I'll work with a life coach because now I see the possibility of making this part of my life even better, right? And even with this fear that, using you as an example, that was handed down to you, that fear of financial planning, I would really like to invite everyone to think about, in the case of money, for example, what do they currently believe about money? And did their parents believe the same thing, right? And if they did, that was your parents' belief, and that's not yours. It
And it's
belonged
not
to
even
them.
necessarily true. It's
Exactly.
not even necessarily based on facts.
Yep. And it might have not even been their message. It might have been your grandparents' message or their parents, right? What happens is these messages or ways of being or living or thinking get passed down over generations. And then we see our parents deal with the fear around that messaging. And we unknowingly just adopt the same fears.
Hmm.
If we really start digging, we're like, that fear isn't even mine. So am I willing to release it so I can move forward and be a financial rock star in my own life?
Right.
Right? Create a new money story. I am great at saving money. I am great at planning my finances. I have a great retirement plan. I am set. Right?
Right.
And imagine handing that down to future generations. And the one thing I love to say, not I don't say it, I mean, what I've started to see evidence of, what I've learned is that when you start releasing the unhelpful generational messaging that has been passed down to you not only give yourself an opportunity to choose a better way for yourself and your future generations, but you also pass down the healing to your ancestors, to those who came behind before you. I've seen this, I've experienced it personally with my own growth in starting a business with the generational messaging that was handed down to me. And I recently even had this profound experience of seeing my mother in a dream supporting my current endeavor. Like,
Mm,
it was so profound, and it made me just, the first thing that came to me was, oh, my mom passed away last year,
mm.
but she has also healed in this line of thinking. So it is possible to do what is new for you. And you might get, especially when you're releasing generational messaging, when you're saying no to something that has guided your family and their values, maybe. Usually there'll be some kind of rebuttal from your family. Like,
Mhm.
if you start doing something new, they will take it very personally first.
Oh yes.
Right?
There is always pushback.
Yeah.
When we hopped up and decided to move to Turks and Caicos,
Uh-huh.
literally, like
Mhm.
my father was like, "Are you like, did you break a law? Like, did you do something?"
Mhm.
And I had to keep explaining to him that you don't get work permits to work in other countries
Right.
if you have a criminal record.
Right.
That's not how any of that works. That
Right.
legal immigration everywhere is legal
Mhm.
immigration everywhere, and you
Yeah.
get background checks and police reports and all the same stuff you do
Exactly.
everywhere. But it never even occurred to him like that people do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I was like, no, we're going to a tax haven for a few
Mhm.
years where we're going to go, like, do our thing. We're going to make some money. We're going to live in a beautiful place. We're,
Mhm.
going to apply our trade. We're going to pay off some old bills, and, we'll see what happens from
Yeah.
there. But he was sure that I had somehow screwed up royally and we were like
Right.
escaping.
Right. So you can see how his fear
Yeah.
played such a huge role in wanting to protect you.
Right, right, which he did really well. He
Mhm.
protected me from financial planners,
Yeah.
accountants,
Yeah.
good attorneys,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
And I know he really felt that he was doing the right thing by doing that.
Exactly.
And that's I think another piece of it though for us in later generations, right? Is that we we kind of want to model that kind of doing the right thing, but we know
Right.
that that wasn't actually correct.
Yeah. Yeah. Doing the right thing can change. The
Yeah.
definition of what is right can change. What is right for you?
Hmm.
What is right for me is a great way for anyone listening in to, if they're in that position, like, if as a Pilates teacher, do I go virtual? Do I offer membership? Do I do one-on-one? Do I go on Zoom? Like, there are a lot of different avenues right now, even in the virtual world.
Right.
And you ask yourself, what is right for me? What am I excited to do? What feels easy? Not what is easy, but what feels easy. It might be a lot of work, but if you enjoy doing it, not that every moment has to be like, this is so amazing. No. I mean, one of the things, my least favorite part of my own work is taking down notes post client sessions.
Right.
I have to keep record of sessions. But I do it because I know when I do that, I'm supporting my business, I'm supporting my growth, and I'm keeping things clear so that if something comes up, I don't have to worry about it. I know everything is tracked, right? So sometimes we do difficult things because we know it supports us down the line somewhere. We will thank ourselves for doing it. So,
Right. And
yeah,
ultimately, you can always hire out for a lot of that stuff too,
exactly. Yeah,
which is
exactly.
another place where we tend to be like, team. what do you mean? But I've also realized that when you view that as supportive,
Mm-hmm.
that you're not hiring a team to support your team.
Right.
Right. And I feel like, especially if we're newer entrepreneurs that are coming from working for other people, either
Mm-hmm.
corporate, I was in a corporate Pilates studio, or
Right.
working as, well, in the yoga and Pilates world, independent contractors aren't really treated as actual independent contractors. That's a whole
Right.
discussion,
Mm-hmm.
not for now.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're used to that kind of mechanism, then everything about going out on your own
Yeah.
is just
Yeah.
overwhelming and terrifying. But the piece of it that I find interesting is that psychologically, we're like, we take jobs with other people so that they can help support us.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Exactly.
then if you take that as your view as an owner,
Mm-hmm.
then bringing in other people, you're like, why would I want to support them when I
Mm-hmm.
need the money for my business?
Right.
But also, what I've learned in doing lots of coaching around that, training and networking and all of it around
Mm-hmm.
that, is that you're not hiring people to support them. It's just an energy exchange, that they're doing stuff
Right.
that you need help with so that
Yeah.
you don't have to do it. And you're
Exactly.
giving them money in exchange. Like, that's all
Exactly.
it is.
But
It doesn't
also,
have to be any bigger or crazier than that.
right, the possibility that imagine all the time and energy, because that's an exchange as well, right? That's an expense.
Yep.
Your time, your energy is valuable. If you're just work, work, work from morning to night, doing all of the things, you're a Pilates teacher, but you're doing all of the things and you don't want to pay anybody else to support you. You're like, no. I mean, if you think about all the different roles, then what you're actually making is not actually compensating you for everything that you're doing. But
Exactly.
if you hire out and get experts in their own areas to support you, not only do you take that time and space, that energy load off, you have more time and more energy to devote to your teaching, to becoming a better Pilates teacher, so that even more people will want to work with you and people will want to pay you more to work with you. And then you potentially have the ability to blow up your income, right?
Exactly. I mean, if you sit down and you're like, I'm spending 5, 10 hours a week, like whatever that looks like, probably around 5 hours a week, I would say, for most people doing that,
Mhm.
back
Yeah.
end work, admin work.
Mhm.
Um, but you make, I mean, I make like $160 an hour on a private, right? So
Yeah.
if I pay somebody $20 an hour
Mhm.
to do 5 hours of work,
Yeah.
and then that's 5 hours that I could potentially be making minimally $160 an hour on, right? That's just like
Exactly.
the privates.
Yeah, that
But I could
too.
also sell more program time. I could create
Right.
something new. I have a little space. Hell, maybe I
Right.
take half a day off.
Yeah.
But but if I replace, that $100, it takes me half an
Exactly.
hour of my work time
Yeah.
to replace paying somebody a decent wage
Right.
to do 5 hours a week of admin work.
Yeah.
And when I look at it that way, it's like a no-brainer.
Exactly.
It's like, why am I resisting doing this?
Yeah.
Why would I resist that when that 5 hours I can be using doing profit-making activity,
Right.
and
At a
I
higher
make that,
hourly
yeah,
rate.
and pay somebody well.
Yeah.
It's a win-win.
Yeah.
Everybody is supported there.
Yeah. I totally hear you on that. Pay
You
somebody
hear
well.
that?
It's so important.
Yet we kind of sit there and we are like, we're doing it all ourselves and we're going to bootstrap everything and
I'm
we're
going to
just going
learn,
to,
yeah, I'm going to learn marketing. I'm going to be my own lawyer. I'm going to write my own contracts. I'm going to
yeah, yeah,
figure all of it out. And I will say that as a first-time business owner, as a small business owner, yes, you will likely be doing all of the things initially. You don't have to be an expert in all of those things. And as soon as you come to the capacity of predictable income flow, and you can outsource even one of those tasks, then, as you said, all that time spent, you can put back into your teaching at your hourly rate. And then your income just continues to build from there, right? Like it's not a loss anymore because you've gained not just time and energy, but also money.
Right. And usually the people you're hiring do the stuff better anyway.
Yeah.
So they actually get more done in those 5 hours than
Exactly.
you would because they actually know what they're doing. So if you're sending them into Canva to create social media, templates and posts for you, you get somebody who knows how to do that. That takes them an hour. It might take you 3.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's literally that simple. Well, Akshaya, I am so happy that you came on with me today.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor to be invited on, and I'm so happy to have this conversation with you.
Yeah, these conversations are the ones that I love to have. As you can tell, these conversations are for me what was so important in being able to build my business with any kind of integrity and with any kind of self-care and with any
Mhm.
kind of connection. And but there's so many people like you out there who are much larger experts in working through a lot of this mindset and kind
Yeah.
of back end personal work that we all really need moving forward. So tell us what you got going on. How can people work with you? How can they find you? And of course, I will put links in the comments to the video. But
Yeah.
let us know.
So I primarily work with women one-on-one, and to book a discovery call, I offer a free discovery call on my website. It's www.akshayachinapa.com. And what we do in that discovery session is you bring forth where you are now and where you'd like to go, and I'll give you the plan for how we're going to get there together. And 6 months, weekly sessions. So you get to take your time, you get to revisit, you get to move at your own pace, and you're supported the whole way. I'm also on Instagram at akshaya.chinapa, and you can even just send me a DM. I'm very responsive. Honestly, I love making connections with people. So don't think that scheduling a discovery call is a commitment. If you're curious, schedule a discovery call. I love to chat and I'd love to get to know you.
Yeah, I encourage you guys to do that. We did a discovery call, and that's how we ended up here.
Yeah, exactly.
And really, I mean, for any of us, for those of you who have wanted to talk to me and are scared to book the free discovery call, or are interested in hearing what Akshaya has to say but are afraid to book the free discovery call, don't be. If we didn't want to do free discovery calls, we wouldn't have them on the schedule.
Yeah,
that's exactly how that works.
Exactly.
Right? Because part of making these businesses work for us is doing things that work both for us and our businesses. And
Exactly.
believe me, we have set aside time to do discovery calls.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You like doing them. They're part of what we do. And even if you decide not to work with her right away, that doesn't mean that you won't decide to do it in the future. And it doesn't mean that you won't want somebody like Akshaya on your team and in your world for if you need her or you have clients or friends who need her. So I really encourage you guys to get in touch with her. I do have the website link already in the post. I will put your social media links in the comments so that people can get in touch with you. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Linda. This was lovely.
You're welcome. Have a great rest of your day, and just hang out on Restream for a second. I'm
Okay,
just going to end the live.
I will.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.